having. So the floor is open for us to ask our questions about BioEasy solutions and how it works for us in this part of the world. So questions, please.
Thank you so much for the well-elucidated presentation. Yeah, my own question, just like the moderator said, is on the side of affordability and accessibility of these rapid test kits. Because ordinarily, the last session we talked so much about the food safety challenges we have in the informal sector, especially in Nigeria here. I'm representing government, and I know that laboratory services is a key component of food safety control system, which we have a lot of gap, especially in the subnationals. How easy will it be for us, for your company, to actually collaborate and assist in building capacity and in making these kits readily available? Because if you want to embark on food monitoring program, especially like we have said in the last session, we need access to these kits. They should be affordable, because food safety is a journey, not a destination. We don't just do it once. We do it again and again and again. How affordable? And how can you assist in building capacity at the subnational level? Thank you.
Actually, this kind of the rapid test is not new. It's, the technology is developed, and actually many of the African countries already use it. Even like here, Nigeria, we have partner here who present our milk test, rapid test kit in some of the international dairy companies like the Danone. They use our antibiotic rapid test kit already in Nigeria. The cost is not expensive compared with the lab. The HPLC LC mass detection is not expensive.
Thank you so much, Ma. I know science has a way of providing solution to a problem, but creating additional problem on the other hand. Pesticide is used to kill pests, but it endangers the environment, it kills non-target organisms, and it has long-term health effect on it. So, it's complex. I don't know how you use it, but I saw you displaying a lot of chemicals. How safe is this chemical after it is used to test this product? Have long-term health effect on the consumers? That's what I want to know.
Actually, the raw material of the test kit is the antigen antibody. Actually, it's few of the chemicals. Almost ignore it, because if you produce some of the antigen antibody, it can produce maybe like millions of the tests, just one.
So the kits are safe?
Yes.
No side effects, no...
Yes. It's very friendly. And also this kind of kit almost used many of the countries already.
Thank you for your presentation. In one of your slides, you mentioned that one of your products can be used for vitamin testing. So
Yes.
which of the vitamins?
Vitamin B7, B9, B12, special for the baby milk powder.
Thank you for your presentation. So I have 3 questions. Okay, so the kits, how much of validation have you done to ensure that it has the same reading with what we get from the laboratory, number 1. Then number 2, I'm actually interested in the ATP test. Then I want to ask the reagent, because I participated in some researches that we use some of these kits. I have some of the equipment with me, but we cannot get the reagents. And writing to the people in Germany, they were like, oh, it's not available, it's now obsolete. I work in the lab. Most of the time when you have all these products, in the next 5 years, 10 years, if you want to get anything from the reagent and all, you say, oh, it's now, we've made another one, it's now obsolete. How available it is? Do we have, then how much of validation have you done for this rapid kit?
Do you ask about the validation reports, right? Actually, our rapid test, we have the validation, this kind of rapid test technology compared with the HPLC, LC mass, this kind of legislation test method. Our company have like different HPLC, LC mass, GC mass. The instrument, before our product launch to the market, we need to do the result comparison. If the result is similar with the legislation test method, our product can launch to the market. So we can 100% be sure about our accuracy and also quality. The reagent, yes, we developed the reagent by ourselves. Yes, it's always available.
Okay, the last question.
Thank you. Mine is not a question, really. The question that man asks is what I want to contribute to. You see, in her presentation, she didn't mention that you are going to be consuming those reagents. Actually, what happens is, for you to use the reagent, you take samples. You don't use it on the entire lot or entire population of the food. You do your sampling, and on the samples, that's what you use the reagent on. And then you get your results, and that assists you in making your report or make your decision, whether you want to accept that entire sample or the entire lot, or you want to discard. That's what our presentation is just about. So you are not consuming whatever thing you have used the reagent on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. I'm sure we've learned 1 or 2 things. And if you want any further information, they have a stand out there. You can ask your questions. You can see the kits, and you can always go back home with your own kits. Thank you very much.
So, Bonnie, could you please join them for a group photograph with the moderator and rapporteur? And with that, we're going to end the session. Thank you so much for being attentive, for engaging actively in the session. Now we'll go to tea break for real. Okay, so we're going to go out that door so that we move smoothly. We go out through that door, and we will encourage you to come back in through this door. Okay, so we'll go through another door. And if you don't mind, I would like to ask that our board members, leaders of the industries go first. So board members, panelists, speakers, please could you take your step, move through the door first, and we'll all join them for the tea break. Okay, so after our board members and panelist speakers have gone, then we will go roll by roll. So we're going to start with this roll. Titi, Doctor, join me. Okay, so then we're going to go roll by roll. So you go in through that, or you go out through that door, and then you would then come in through this door so that we do not have too much confusion and disarray. Okay, so we start from there, so I've been told. That roll.
from the tea break. We are moving to the keynote presentation 4. So I have the honor of inviting the rapporteur for that section, Mrs. Taiwo Adeshino. Please come forward, Mrs. Taiwo Adeshino. A round of applause for her as she does that. She's going to be the rapporteur for this keynote presentation. I also want to invite to the high table the keynote speaker, Professor Patrick Njobe from the Department of Biotechnology and Food Technology, University of Johannesburg, South Africa. Please put your hands together for him as he takes his seat. So I want to read the citation of Professor Patrick Njobe before he delivers his keynote presentation. Are we all together? Okay. Currently, Professor Patrick Njobe is a full professor of food safety at the Department of Biotechnology and Food Technology, Faculty of Science, University of Johannesburg. He is the head of the mycotoxin unit that hosts more than 40 honors, postgraduate students, and postdoctoral fellows. He serves as a member of the Faculty of Science Ethics Committee, Transformation Committee, and University of Johannesburg Senate. He has 1 edited book, 21 book chapters, 148 journal papers, and 75 conference proceedings, workshops, public lectures, keynote addresses, along with several media outlets. These publications have resulted to an H index of 46 and 6,345 citations, according to Google Scholar. He is a consultant of the African Union Inter-African Bureau for Animal Resources in providing technical expertise on food safety, and has been involved in ground verifications and selections of African Union's reference laboratories and collaborating centers for food safety in Africa. Invited by the African Union, he is a member to a technical working group in support of the ongoing post-Malabo agenda development process in propelling Africa's agricultural growth and agri-food systems transformation to boost economic transformation, food sovereignty, and resilience. Professor Patrick has received several local and international grants and awards close to $3 million. With a round of applause, please welcome our keynote presenter, Professor Patrick Njobe. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon. Okay, I'll not go straight to the point. I'm giving my talk on emerging challenges and innovations in food safety across Africa. My name is Patrick Njobe, and please go back. I'm part of these organizations. The Uprise is a European Union funded project that is ongoing, and I'm part of the National Research Foundation because that is largely where I receive my grants, and I am also a reviewer for most of the grants offered there. And then the Maize Trust is one of the recipients of the grants there. Of course, the Africa Continental Association for Food Protection that has invited me to be here. Thank you so much. Next slide. This is the outline of my presentation. I'm going to make a definition of what I will restrict myself to mycotoxins, not necessarily because that is where my specialty lies, but because mycotoxin is a center stage for as far as food safety is concerned. I'm also going to give some concepts about mycotoxin contamination, and in the next, I will identify some emerging challenges that we have currently, and then we'll look at general innovations and the research efforts that have been made within the University of Johannesburg in addressing food safety. Next slide. To define what mycotoxins are. These are toxic secondary metabolites that are produced by certain fungi that contaminate various food and feed commodities. And to be specific as to which of these mycotoxins, they generally belong to the Aspergillus penicillium and the Fusarium genera. But we also find that we have Atenaria and Staphylococcus that are producing some of the mycotoxins that are currently being discovered, that we collectively refer to them as emerging mycotoxins. We'll discuss those later. And these mycotoxins, they produce specific, these fungi, they produce specific mycotoxins based on the toxigenic potential they have, and they do so under specific ecophysiological conditions. And you have approximately 400 mycotoxins that have been discovered and characterized so far. However, there are new ones coming that, as I've mentioned, new ones, either they are emerging mycotoxins or they are referred to as masked mycotoxins. We will discuss that later. And actually they persist in food, various food and feed commodities, even during and after processing, and as a result pose serious health and economic problems. They are most prevalent in the tropical and the subtropical regions, which unfortunately Africa happens to have all these types of climatic conditions. So mycotoxins, as I mentioned, they have both socioeconomic and health effects. And under health effects, you can either look at them as acute or subacute or chronic, and they seriously affect humans and animals. Next slide, please. So the pathway for mycotoxins, mycotoxin contamination in food. At pre-harvest, within the field, you find some of the fungi, like the Fusarium species, that contaminate food, crops within the field, and as such, they produce specific mycotoxins. The most common one is the Fusarium species, the fumonisins, that are referred to as field mycotoxins, and they also persist during harvest, especially during harvesting period where you have heavy rainfall. And as I mentioned, there are field fungi, but you also have storage fungi. And these storage fungi, like the Aspergillus species, they, please go back. So they produce aflatoxins that we refer to them as storage fungi, as well as the ochratoxins. But as far as processing is concerned, some of these mycotoxins actually persist, even when you have a long time period, or when you are applying high temperature conditions during processing, they still persist. Next slide, please. There are different types of mycotoxins. However, as I mentioned, there are 400 of them. But the most significant ones that I will mention are the aflatoxins, the fumonisin, the ochratoxins, the zearalenone, and the deoxynivalenol. And as you see, the aflatoxins, the main producers of aflatoxin are the Aspergillus flavus and Aspergillus parasiticus. And they contaminate mainly cereals and nuts. Then you have the fusariums, the fumonisins that are mainly produced by Fusarium verticilloides, and in some cases, Fusarium proliferatum. And maize the base products are the main susceptible food products. And these mycotoxins, as I mentioned, they cause serious health effects. For aflatoxin of the main, we can really say aflatoxin mainly B1 is the most naturally occurring potent carcinogen. And as such, it targets mainly the liver, causing liver cancer. And then you have esophageal cancer and neural tube effects that affect mainly children. Some studies have been conducted in South Africa, where, especially in regions of the Transkei region in the Eastern Cape, where you have esophageal cancer that has been linked or closely associated or correlated with increased incidence, contamination levels of fumonisin. Then the neural tube effects affect mainly newborn babies, especially for women that have been pregnant women that have been exposed for prolonged period with exposed to fumonisin. Then you have ochratoxin, fumonisin and ochratoxin were discovered in South Africa for fumonisin in 1988, for ochratoxin in the 1960s, early 1960s. So for ochratoxin, you have both Aspergillus and Fusarium species that are the main producers, and they contaminate cereals, mainly cocoa, and coffee as well. Then you have grapes for fruit, and they are implicated, they are nephrotoxic, so they are really, the target organ is the kidney. Then you have the zearalenone, which is called an oestrogenic mycotoxin because the structure of zearalenone closely resembles that of estrogen, and as such cause oestrogenic or reproductive disorders. They are produced mainly by Fusarium graminearum. Then you have the deoxynivalenol, which is also referred to as vomitocin. Why vomitocin? Because if you consume food product or animals that consume food product that contain high levels of fumonisin, deoxynivalenol, tend to vomit. But then the main susceptible crops are cereals, mainly barley, especially malted barley. The same also happens with ochratoxin, that barley or malted barley is the main, along with cocoa, are the main susceptible crops. Next slide, please. What are the contributing factors to increase mycotoxin contamination? Climate, and in the ecophysiological, or collectively referred to as the ecophysiological factors, that are the main, that is the main contributing factor. We are seeing increased cases of climate change, where climate things are worsening. There are some studies that we've conducted looking at predictive models with regards to climate change. That one is a topic for another day. We have various farming systems and processing techniques that we currently employ here, principally in Africa, that tend to be the major contributing factors. Then some of the monitoring methods are not actually there. They are absent for early detection of these mycotoxins so that intervention can take place. Then you have regulatory standards that in some countries are non-existent. These are one of the major problems that we have. Then socio-political climate that we have in some parts of the continent that are major contributing factors. Please, next slide. So the emerging challenges, that is the main topic of discussion today, is that we have climate change dynamics that result in increased fungal proliferation, and as a result, produce different types of mycotoxins, and the degree with which these mycotoxins are produced because of this climate change dynamics also is quite high. Then you have co-occurrence of multiple mycotoxins, which most of the time regulation for specific mycotoxins, which sometimes or most of the time the co-occurrence of these mycotoxins, multiple mycotoxins, are not taken into account. Then we have weak surveillance, monitoring, and early warning systems that are either not there or they are not sufficiently utilized. Then you have limited access to testing facilities and storage technologies, and most of the time, these testing facilities and storage technologies, they are expensive or costly to utilize. Then we have poor post-harvest handling and storage technologies that we are employing in the continent. Then a case of emerging mycotoxins. What are emerging mycotoxins? In the first place, emerging mycotoxins are those mycotoxins that are being discovered, and they regularly appear in our various food and feed commodities, yet they are not regulated. And then you also have masked mycotoxins. What are these masked mycotoxins or modified mycotoxins? These are actually the byproducts of mycotoxins that have been, you see plants, they have that, some plants have that ability to modify or to detoxify mycotoxins. However, these mycotoxins, now since they are already in food, and humans and animals will consume them, and those mycotoxins or those masked mycotoxins, they go back to their original forms, and as such may cause serious toxicity in both humans and animals. And there are, because of what we have listed, these we have listed above, you find that the risk to mycotoxin exposure increases, and as such, strategies to alleviate the adverse effects of these mycotoxins that are being potentiated in humans and animals becomes more and more complex and costly. Next slide, please. Now, innovative efforts in mycotoxin mitigation in food systems, research efforts at the University of Johannesburg. Please, next slide. So, one of the first that I would like to mention here is that we developed, as far as method development is concerned, we developed and optimized a validated, cost-effective and environmentally friendly extraction method called pressurized hot water extraction for mycotoxin extraction, which was then followed by LC-MS analysis. And we were able to effectively extract over 15 mycotoxins in maize with satisfactory linearity, that is 0.986 to 0.999, with recoveries between 14 to 124%. Here, the 14, which was really disappointing to us, is that, as I mentioned before, ochratoxin A is one of the most significant mycotoxins. Unfortunately, the recovery of 14% was for ochratoxin A. We tried as much as possible to improve the method, yet we were really unsuccessful. But for the other mycotoxins, we were able to have from recovery rates from 65 to 124%, which was satisfactory to us. Next slide, please. So this is another method that we just concluded. This is a Belgian South African bilateral cooperation where we just a few days ago concluded the project with a workshop that was organized at the University of Johannesburg, where one of our master's students went to Sciensano. Sciensano is a component of the Ministry of Health in Belgium that we are collaborating with, together with the University of Zululand in South Africa. So here one of our PhD students was able to develop reference materials. Here the approach focused mainly on developing these reference materials for mycotoxin analysis. And these reference materials we use specifically for different food matrices, sorghum and maize in particular. So here, the reference materials consisted of aflatoxin B1, aflatoxin B2, on all the three major fumonisin. Here, we were able to adopt these reference material to ensure regulatory compliance, because we gave these reference materials to some of the laboratories in South Africa to see whether they were accurate, because these materials had no concentration. Please press there. Yeah. So these reference materials, we find that this is powder, and this then we are spiked with non-mycotoxin concentrations. Press the next one. So we press it again. Play it again. So we use that homogenizer to make sure that the mycotoxin were uniformly distributed in all sections. Next slide. Next slide. So in terms of still on method, on analytical methods, we make use of nanotechnology by fabricating and applying nano-based solid state sensors that consisted of graphene oxide and tin oxide nanorods to indirectly dictate aflatoxins for any dictation of aflatoxins via volatile organic compounds produced by Aspergillus flavus. And we were able to interact, the results actually demonstrated a dynamic interaction between fungal growth, emission of these volatile organic compounds, and aflatoxin for rapid dictation, rapid and early dictation of aflatoxins in maize. There is another ongoing work for one of my PhD students. This is one of my students that recently graduated in Nigeria, and then we also have a Nigerian that is working on early dictation of fumonisins, making use of volatile organic compounds as well. Next slide, please. Here, we investigated the effects of traditional fermentation methods, either cold, with change or unchanged steeping liquor, then fun and gum on mycotoxin reduction in ogi. We were able to, I can't really see, maybe I should just stand. Or I should come there. So here, cold and gum fermentations effectively reduce fumonisins, aflatoxin B1 to 2 microgram per kg, levels that are regulated by the European Union. And then, similarly, all the 4 methods, we are able to lower fumonisin B1, B2 levels to between 200 to 1,000 microgram per kg. Next slide, please. So this is another PhD work where we look at mycotoxin reduction in Daba Bambara granule, produced from Bambara granule via fermentation, and we optimize both time and temperature at that range. And results showed that when increasing fermentation time or condition, both time and temperature, reduced mycotoxin. 100% reduction was, we witnessed it for aflatoxin B1, aflatoxin G1. I don't have a point. If we look at this is aflatoxin B1, these bars here, and then you have aflatoxin G1. Here is the percentage reduction on the vertical column. So you have 100% reduction for 4 mycotoxins, fumonisin B1 and ochratoxin A. And then you also have zearalenone with almost above 80% reduction. Next slide, please. So here we employed cooking technique called nixtamalization. This is a type of cooking technique that is common in South America, that is less commonly practiced in Africa. I think my grandmom used to do that when cooking conchab or something like that. But here, 5 different nixtamalization cooking ingredients: wood ash, calcium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, and calcium chloride were utilized for the reduction of fumonisin in artificially contaminated maize and sorghum. And results actually indicated that all the tested cooking ingredients, except for calcium chloride, were effective in reducing fumonisins. Next slide, please. So here, we took the previous work further by looking at exposure assessment, where one of our master's students then took up this work. This work was actually, there were some presentations here on the collaborative efforts between African Union and the European Union. This is part of that kind of work. Here we looked at 40 adults. We selected 40 adults, of course, with their consent in Soweto, Clip Town in Soweto, Johannesburg. And we randomly assigned them to the control group. The control group had 18, consisted of 18 adults, and the experimental group consisted of 22 adults. And they were administered 300 grams of either control or nixtamalized maize porridge twice daily. And urine samples were collected at 3 different stages: pre-administration of the nixtamalized product, during, and thereafter, for mycotoxin exposure assessment. And the nixtamalization product markedly reduced mycotoxin contamination in maize, achieving between 89 to 100% reduction, with complete elimination of deoxynivalenol and fumonisin B3, with an overall reduction of fumonisin B1 and B2. I can't see the other one, but what happened is that when we looked at exposure assessment, we were able to conclude that with these reductions in mycotoxins, they were mycotoxin in the various samples were really consistent with the reduction in the mycotoxin levels in urine. Next slide, please. Here we employed a thermal degradation and numerical modeling approach, where we investigate the degradation patterns for multiple mycotoxins, including aflatoxin, fumonisin, ochratoxins, T2 toxin, and steric maltodextrin, as a function of temperature and time in pure and spike forms in maize using a numerical modeling approach. Here, degradation increased with increase in temperature and time, with ochratoxin B and ochratoxin A the most stable, where reduction was between 20 to 24%. But however, fumonisin B1 and fumonisin B3 were the least stable, achieving a 63 to 65% reduction. Not the least, were stable, but while FB1 and FB3 degraded rapidly occurs, with degradation occurring at 178 to 217 degrees centigrade. Next slide, please. Aflatoxin degradation using culture and lysates of Pontibacter species. Here we investigated the degree with which on liquid cultures on inhibited lysates and protease inhibited lysates were able to reduce aflatoxin B1 after incubation for 3 to 48 hours. After 6 hours, protease inhibited lysate achieved 65% aflatoxin B1 degradation, and with complete degradation after 12 hours. And after 48 hours, liquid culture and inhibited lysate showed a reduction in aflatoxin by I won't be able to say this, by 50 and 36 respectively. Next slide. Here we look at enzymatic, that's another enzymatic degradation, but this time during patulin apple juice processing, where we look at the degree with which, because patulin is one of the major mycotoxins that contaminate apple, and so they are easily transferable during apple juice processing. There is orotate phosphorybosine transferase, which is known and used or known to degrade mycotoxins. We utilized it, and it plays a crucial role in the synthesis as well of uracil. Uracil is a component of RNA. So we actually used it to see if it can be able to degrade patulin during apple juice processing, where we dose the ingredients, the apple juice ingredients with 0.2 milligram per ml of URSA5 under controlled conditions, the same conditions under which patulin is produced, and we looked at the degradation data that was generated within 3 to 24 hours interval. Here results actually indicate that after 6 hours, patulin levels after dropped to 57 and 113 microgram per liter for 100 and 200 microgram patulin contaminated samples respectively. And by 18 hours, patulin levels actually fell to below 47 and 40 microliters, those reaching the levels within which, because patulin is regulated at 50 microliters, a microgram per liter. Next slide, please. So, of course, we were emphasizing about community engagement, and one other thing too that we've all been listening to is that working together works, I suppose so. Collaboration. So we've been able to collaborate with some of our communities, and in 2000 and 2001 we organized the Izindaba Sukula Farmers Laboratory, where we brought in crop farmers, animal producers, and all whatnot, more than about 300, where we give some presentation, we try to talk about what mycotoxins are and the types of data that was generated when dealing with mycotoxins, the importance and occurrence of mycotoxins in South Africa. So this workshop was organized at the University of Johannesburg on the Soweto campus in February 2015 and 2020, then subsequently in 2021. And then we found ourselves in various media outlets like South African Broadcasting Corporation. We've also interacted and administered questionnaire to find out the knowledge and understanding or awareness of mycotoxins in various communities around South Africa. And there is one interesting work here that we carried out that led to an award that won the first prize of the video competition. Was awarded by Michigan State University in collaboration with the Federal University of, FUNAB, Abeokuta. So this one had to do with a video that we went still under the European Union South African Bilateral Cooperation project. We were in Norway and we decided to do this video, which was then concluded here in Nigeria. And one of my PhD students, that is currently my postdoctoral research fellow, we happen to have produced it. And that is the website to that video footage. And then this particular coverage was covered by FUNAB Latest News, which was published in 2019. Next slide, please. I just want to seize this opportunity to thank these various persons and also my students and postdoctoral students that assembled for me this presentation, without which it wouldn't have been possible for me to be here. I also want to thank the organizing committee for inviting me here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Njobe, for that very insightful presentation on mycotoxin contamination in food and feed and innovative strategies to prevent and control them. So it's time to take questions. If you have questions for Professor Njobe, please raise your hand so that we can take all the questions at once. Any questions for, okay, one person, two, any other person? We need a microphone. We have two, yes, two people. Yes, we can begin with him. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. All right, thank you, Prof, for the presentation. I just want to ask, because I want to contextualize the result of extensive studies over the years. I know South Africa, for instance, they take maize-based milk more than Nigeria. So like a pap, which is different from our own pap, okay. So, and with Nigeria, maybe except for the northern part, should we be worried about this aflatoxin as, for me, as Nigerian for instance? And then you also, one of your slides, you did show, you displayed how fermentation, the effect of fermentation on aflatoxins and mycotoxins generally. Then, but in that research, you were not specific on, because I'm a microbiologist, you were not specific on the strain effects or species effect or some of your or some of these strains that you used or permutation. Do you want to clarify that, if you don't mind?
Prof, will you respond individual or together? All at once. All right. So let's yes. Okay, there's someone here. Oh.
Good afternoon, greetings. As he was speaking, something came to my mind, and that's just a research gap. It's not a question anyways. When he made mention of the method he used for the extraction, and he mentioned that he used pressurized hot water extraction, what came to my mind was the fact that cell wall, we need to break that open for us to easily extract what we are trying to detect. We are aware of other extraction methods, and the research gap I think I was able to really track is the fact that we should have to do comparative study, the extraction methods. We can compare that pressurized hot water extraction method and the general method that we use. For instance, thin layer, of that. So we appreciate the organizers of just the research gap.
Thank you very much, Professor Patrick Njobe, for the presentation. I just have a concern about the issue of the cost of mycotoxin analysis. I've had colleagues who were really interested in mycotoxin research. Good topic, this, but the cost of the analysis has made, at least I know 2 people, the cost of analysis has made them to shift focus to another area of research. I don't know whether you'll be able to answer me or any other person. What can be done to actually reduce the cost, knowing that most researchers in Nigeria are self-sponsored? We don't get grants as much as you get in South Africa. What can we do about that, please? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I'm wondering if the methods you introduce, are they also recognized or being looked at by authorities in South Africa, or do you see any activity towards harmonization maybe with other laboratories as well? So can it be used in a broader range?
Please permit me, let me sit. Let me begin first of all with the method. Or should I just go, let me be chronological. Should we be worried about the contamination levels of aflatoxins in our food? You say South Africa consumes a lot of we call it PAP. Yes. Of course, if we analyze them and we see that the levels are actually high, we should be worried. Not necessarily that the levels are high, even if they are low. The fact that there is multi-mycotoxin occurrence, because these mycotoxins, when they occur or when we are exposed to them simultaneously, they are either additive or synergistic. We should really be worried, but we should make efforts in order to ensure that. That's the reason why we are here. What are we going to do to make sure that we reduce these levels to the barest minimum? Of course, there is no method that will eliminate all the mycotoxins that are present in a particular commodity. But who knows? Tomorrow, we may have someone that can address such a challenge. I hope I've answered your question. One other thing too is that avoid consuming one and the same food commodity over and over to limit exposure, because what you are consuming over and over, I want to tell you something about melon seeds, what we call ekusi. Egusi seems to be having the highest level of aflatoxin contamination currently. I can assure you. Okay. Now there is a question of some of the methods that we have developed, whether they are already accredited. I will join the second question and the fourth question. Yeah, whether we have compared these methods, some of them we've compared with the extraction. Our concern was the extraction. The one that we said, the pressurized hot water extraction method, was very nice. But for the fact that it did not, we are only able to extract 14% of the spike okra toxin A. We tried as much as possible to develop it, and unfortunately, the student that was actually, the PhD student that was actually doing that got his postdoctoral program in Nigeria, went to the US, but died last year of liver cancer, which unfortunately, so we've not been able to proceed. Now, but there are other protocols that we've said we have been working on, which are ongoing. Some have been like making use of nanosensors for early detection of aflatoxins, and there is an ongoing one for early detection of fumonisin. However, it requires that we do multiple analysis, not only testing for those specific. We should look not just for the early detection of those mycotoxins, but we should look whether those volatile organic compounds can still appear just having the same profile, like for other mycotoxins that are produced by the same fungus. The work is ongoing. And then the cost implication. Now, one thing that I have to remove my eyeglasses, because first is that for anybody that is engaging him or herself in mycotoxin research should be prepared because the cost is quite huge. I don't think there is any type of research that is as costly as mycotoxicology research. I will tell you that, there are many students I'm unable to take, which I would love to take, but just because of the fact that there is no funding. I think what we should do is that we should continue to, you see, what I say, working together works, but it has not really been working together because the various stakeholders that are involved in mycotoxin research are so disjointed. You find the policymakers, they make their policies without in consultation with the type of data that we are as researchers are currently generating. And then you find that the very same policymakers, they advise the government for funding, and then they prioritize different types of things. Because, as I say, mycotoxin takes the center stage as far as food safety is concerned. So why do they not prioritize research into mycotoxins? So it's not only, I don't know, I can't, but any time that I go, I advocate. Any time that they call me to sit within the advisory body by various government or various, like FAO, I always emphasize as well that, look, mycotoxin research is not an easy thing. I will tell you for just a few, let's say 10 samples, if you want to analyze all the significant mycotoxins, the big five, you will not spend nothing less than 1 million naira. Am I correct? And where are we going to get it just to analyze 10? And there is nowhere where you can publish those 10 or you will be permitted to graduate as a student with those 10 samples. But there are fast, and one other thing too is that there are fast rapid tests that are used, but they will not allow a student to graduate with data generated from rapid tests. What has the student achieved as far as knowledge generation with regards to the techniques in mycotoxin analysis are involved? Yeah, I think I hope I've answered the question.
Thank you very much, Prof. Oh, still have, I thought we were done. Can we permit just one more question? Okay. Please.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very brilliant presentation. It's not a question per se. It has to do with the issue raised by this lady. If I'm not misinterpreting the question, she was talking of effect of high temperature that you cannot extract with high temperature. I just want to comment on that. Now, you cannot use high temperature to destroy the mycotoxins. Mycotoxins are secondary metabolites of this fungi. So they are chemical compounds. They are organic chemical compounds that cannot be destroyed by heat. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I missed that. One of the things, you see, if you look at the pressurized water extraction protocol, you will see that the temperature that we employed is between 178 to 270. And most mycotoxins, besides we are using water, one thing is that we are using water with no organic solvent. But the thing is that if you apply high temperature with high pressure to water, water will tend to behave like an organic solvent, right? But the whole thing is that at that temperature, the mycotoxins will not break. We also tested to see whether if we apply, we will see any degradation or reduction in mycotoxin content in various this thing. But one thing with that, when they behave like organic solvent under those conditions, temperature and pressure conditions, what happens is that the mycotoxin tend to lose, to break the matrix under investigation, tend to lose the mycotoxin away. Then the mycotoxin can then be absorbed by the solvent. So we did stability tests as well. All right.
Thank you very much. So with that, we've come to the end of the plenary, the keynote presentation. A round of applause for Professor Njobe as he goes to take his seat. Thank you, our rapporteur. Please take a photograph. Let me join them so that it can be 3. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to the last plenary presentation for today. That's plenary presentation 3. Please welcome upstage the moderator for that presentation, Dr. Olaitan Olajuigbe. A round of applause for her as she comes up. The rapporteur will be Dr. Temilola Jokodola. Okay. And the lead speaker is Mr. John O. Atonda, the Director and the National Coordinator, Food Safety and Quality Program from the Federal Ministry of Health, Abuja. Please, Mr. John O. Atonda, kindly come up as well. Where's our rapporteur? Dr. Jokodola, we are expecting you upstage. So I'll hand over now to the moderator.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, so we are honored to have the representative of the Minister for Health and Social Security. Is that how the social welfare? Yeah, Minister for Health and Social Welfare, ably represented by Mr. Atonda here. He has been working on issues of food safety and policy formulation concerning food safety for about 30 years now. So he's has a good knowledge of what we are going to talk about, and I'm sure we are going to gain one thing or the other from what he will say today. So you are welcome, sir. Okay, sir, so we have the presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here with you this season, on this session, especially for this program. Food safety as a public health imperative. Well, let me first of all appreciate every one of us that have made presentation all along, and let me thank every one of us that have been active, following up, because that's what makes the program fruitful. It is in the course of interaction that you learn on the thing and you make your own contribution. So what happened? This presentation has to do with just telling the Nigerian story of especially from the perspective of the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, what has been done, how government have taken it. That is the issue of food safety in the country. And then they have been providing coordination mechanism for this sector for over the years. So I want us to follow and then see what we are able to do, and then the other areas that we need to interact to know more about. First slide, please. Okay, the outline of the presentation will be that first of all give a brief background, the policy outlook, the food safety interventions that have been done in the country as a government. We have linking food safety and health security, food safety and healthy food consumption, challenges and lessons, conclusion and call to action. Very briefly, because I realized we are having a regional program. That's why I just did a brief introduction of our country breakdown. There are some of us that I have my friend there that has, so at least you'll be able to learn something. The Nigerian have 36 states and FCT, 774 local government areas, over 9,565 wards, within which houses the primary health care system in the country. You know, that's the basis of health system in the country, the estimated population, and then health interventions and food safety implementation in Nigeria is a multi-sectoral issue that is implemented across the federal, state, and local government. They are all aware that some of our issues that are under a concurrent list, exclusive list, but you realize that the food safety or food issue is a function of all the tiers of government, and then we need to understand that one and then make sure that we do play our roles at what level we find ourselves. Just like I said, food safety is everyone's business. When they were asking questions the other time, I said, at any point we have, even at the informal sector, even at your own level, even whether in the market, even that's what one of the strategies have identified that used to drive the issue of the gospel of food safety down to the grassroots. And unfortunately, you realize that majority of us source, no matter how big we source our food from that informal market. So that's where the problem is. So if we don't take it serious, we will be causing problem for ourselves. Okay? Nigeria has considered food safety as a critical issue that intersects health, agriculture, environment, trade, science and technology, and sustainable development. So it is because we realize that it's a multi-sectoral and multi-layer intervention that we decided to deal with it holistically. That's the mandate that was given to the ministry. And we need to, so that's why we developed a national policy on food safety and its implementation strategy. In 2014, there were some additions earlier than that, before that time, but at that time when it became the government of that day, of that time, was so critical about it, so that's why even we have to, some international partners have to support us to be able to develop this policy. 2014, the first edition that gave us the framework to be able to coordinate food safety in the country. Oh, it's just, okay, this is the sample, this is the document I said provided that framework for food safety coordination in the country. Because, you know, it's an health issue. Whatever thing you do and have to do with, it's an health matter. That's why the Ministry of Health is the one coordinating, even when we have Agric is there, Ministry of Agric, Ministry of Environment, because everything comes down to health issue. That's why the Ministry of Health is there. I have to provide a coordination mechanism. Please move this one. So the national policy frameworks in the country realize that the national government have its own responsibilities, processed and packaged food by most of our agencies, regulators, NAFDAC, SON, and then we have a cross-border food trade. Some of the food are sold across the multiple states. That the policy provided for it. International food safety collaboration, those are the regional and the global authorities, and then multi-state food safety emergencies. All these ones are what is actually covered under the national and the subnational levels. We have open market, all these ones are under the law. Either you fall under a particular state, and you fall under a particular state, it must fall on the particular local government. That's why I said that law, the policy, even provided for the development of national development of legal backing, legal framework to provide backing for the policy. And it went so that it will be able to give, we have competent authorities at the federal, at the state, and the local government. So that bill gave power to even the state government. If the audit, all those ones, Abatua, all those, they fall under a particular local government. So what are they doing? Most of the markets we have fall under a particular local government. You will not expect the federal government to come, from there to come and even be expecting what is happening at the grassroots level. So that responsibility is designed, is given to every authority at each level, but there is need for coordination. So that's why we need to have a coordinated structure to ensure that whatever thing you are doing in the country follow the same pattern. So I'm proud to even, that's why you will be surprised when I saw Mr. Aikuda, when we stood up in the morning and then we greeted. We have been together for many years, and anytime, even the last time I was in the US, we have to even mention that your state, we know some states that are doing well. Because the policy provided for development at each level, at the state level, what we have in the north, in the federal, they are supposed to have a National Food Safety Management Committee, which is providing the coordination for all the other ministries, the agri, environment, science and tech, all of them. So at the state level, the policy provided that that team should be established as well. We have the State Food Safety Management Committee, and then it has to be cascaded down to the local government. And then you work along with the same composition we have in the north, even the NAFDAC at the state level. They are, they are federal agencies, but still, their state offices are supposed to be the member of those states, of that committee at the state level. So that at the next year will be there, SON, their state offices will be there, so that at least we'll be able to have a coordinated activity. So I think let's move. Well, you can see we just provide this one to show how the food safety issue is handled in the country. You see there's some more ministries. These are the processes that you see inside. Those are the organizations that are involved. I say Federal Ministry of Health, that's when it comes to production, agri-production, fresh food, and we have Federal Ministry of Federal Ministry of Agric and Food Security, State Ministry of Agric, NACIS, National Quarantine Services, Federal Produce Inspectorate, Inspection Services, that's under Ministry of Trade and Investment, NIAS, that's the Institute of Animal Science, LGA, Department of Agriculture. You see how they were also affected at state level. Then the Federal Ministry of Health, NAFDAC, SON, they have to do with the food processing. They have the power to make a regulation to do that. Federal Ministry of Health, NAFDAC, in the issue of processed and packaged food. So it comes down to this point, and then you see these other ones are also having effect at the level from this side. Well, just let us try to be as fast as possible. No, I want to. So, but recently, we realized that after implementing the policy, the first edition, the one of 2014, for some years, from 5 to now, so we have to realize that there are some other emerging food safety issues which have to be incorporated. Why we have to review the document holistically, and then to contain so many other things. So the municipal policy now incorporates the following issues to ensure holistic management: legislation, coordination, trade, traceability, risk analysis, aquaculture, disease surveillance, laboratory distribution, importation and exportation, response and management of food safety emergency, awareness and education, research and development to ensure healthy and nutritious food. So that's another area we realize that even the issue of food being safe is not the same thing as being healthy. The food is safe, but it doesn't mean that it's healthy. So I will go, you understand that one as we continue. So the other area includes, okay, let me leave this one. The revised policy has six goals. One, strengthen national food safety and quality system structure. It's aimed to minimize incidents of food safety associated with human, animal, and plant health. That's why we are operating using what we call One Health approach. That has to do with the environment, the animal, and human. To strengthen institutional capacity for food safety and quality. On this one, so that's why we have to even develop a manual. When we're talking of capacity building, the institutional capacity building, so we develop unified food safety manual. You see some of them as we go. That we used to train, we have been trained, at least we have trained in all the state regions, all the zones. It was when one of the times that we came to do that training, to give training of trainers, we train people with that manual so that they can go and cascade it. And then we approach it from different, not only the government regulators, we bring in NGOs to come, so when we train them, some of them have the mandate in educating people at the grassroots level, at the market level. So when we train them, we certify them so that they can still also be able to educate and create awareness at the grassroots level. So that's under capacity building. No, let me up a bit. Effective information communication, training and research mechanism, consumption of healthy and nutritious food. And that's one of what that policy emphasized. So we now have to, that's what we have, and it has been established that sodium, excessive consumption of sodium, sugar, and TFA, trans fatty acid, are causing problems. They are the major cause of cardiovascular disease in the country. Realize that 29% of most of the diseases in the country are caused by, NCD, are caused by excessive consumption of salt. So because of that, government have to take a proactive step. So that's why we developed what we call the National Guideline for Sodium Reduction. You will see the document and we'll talk about it as we go. And then we promote international trade in food and feeds. So this one, it have to do with the Codex. It's working with by the grace of God, I happen to be the chairman of Codex, National Codex Committee. And we have been working on this, SON. That's why I was looking for SON here before. Even NAFDAC, they're not here. But we have to promote international trade. So that's one of the key areas that this policy works on. And based on that one, people established some committees on the issue of having to do with the issue of rejection. I'm talking about aflatoxin and some other rejection from the international borders. So we have four committees currently. Okay, I think I will talk about it when I get there. So for the policy, that policy that was reviewed, the strategies that we have mapped out to implement is that we want to oversight committee. That's what I said before. National Food Safety Management Committee. It was established in 2015, and I've even gone to the National Assembly, even for it to be legislated to become an act. But on the day it was to be signed, the day Buhari was able to leave office. Unfortunately, there is a little, so we couldn't get that one. But the policy provided and the backing for it. So it's a pay oversight function for food safety coordination in Nigeria. So in this committee, just like I said before, comprised of all the major relevant MDAs: health, agri, environment, trade and investment, and other agencies of government, SON. So developing national guidelines, that is creating practical guidelines for food safety practices. So under this national guidelines, the one I said we prepared some guidelines and the training manual that we have to even educate the people, that is to train people on good hygiene practice and good manufacturing practice and hazard analysis and critical control points, which is everybody in the food sector will know that this is the certification that you need to know and then what you have to understand before you can even say you want to export your product. Capacity building, okay, using this training guideline. Rigorous regulatory enforcement, even our regulators, there's a structure on the ground that we even choose to train our regulators like SON and NAFDAC officers on some of the things, because if they don't have the capacity to do the analysis, like I was talking of the TFA the other time, and also we realize that even in the country, at the point that they cannot analyze TFO in most of our laboratories, so we have to even arrange with the partners to train some of our people. They brought some Americans to come and train them so that you're able to know that at least if you don't know what to do as a regulator, so how will you be able to enforce the law? So we have to strengthen them first. So the WHO and the Resort to Save Lives and some other this thing, and we co-work with the Institute of Public Analysis of Nigeria, SON, and all of them, so to make sure that we strengthen that area before we can. And then in public awareness campaign, that's we have tried to do that one, and then that's why I said, even at every level, we have a structure at the level where, even at the local government level, that awareness is more, have more effect, because when people are aware, when issue of sodium, it's something we have acquired for long. Taste is really acquired. It's not that we are born with it, because we have been used to it for long. So you need to even educate people to be able to aware that what this consumption of excessive sodium have implication. Currently, I don't know if there is any family here that will not say we won't have one or two in their family that is hypertensive. So that's what we usually tell people. Even in my church, by the grace of God, I'm a pastor, And I have a Sunday that I've dedicated, second Sunday, we have to talk about family issue. That is a strategy that says even as a Muslim in a mosque, establish it, healthy food, healthy living, discuss on it, bring people that can talk about it. So but from there, even when people somebody produce food that is salty, you will not take. And at the end of that, you will not make. Because when we developed the guideline, the industries were not comfortable. Some of them say, it will affect their food and the taste of their food. But it has been proven that that benchmark on sodium guideline that I was talking about shows that even with the food scientists, some of us are here, that they are able to work on it so that that benchmark of sodium in that particular food will not affect the quality of the food. It will not affect the quality of the food so that they established. So even the guideline that they launched, and then the WHO has given Nigeria credit even for being the first to develop that kind of guideline in this part of the world. So it is for all of us to be able to collaborate together to implement it. The policy is expected to be reviewed. That's usually after 5 years. They usually review the Okay, this is just talking about the composition of the NFFC. But as I said before, because of some of these things that are also coming up, I imagine issue of rejection across the border, lack of capacity, and all those things. So we sought the partnership of some partners. Unfortunately, it was even the US government that was trying to even help us at that time. We have an issue with an agreement with even FAO. Unfortunately, due to funding and all those things. So these 4 committees were established as subcommittees of the National Food Safety Management Committee. So all the MDAs in the country, all the regulators, and even the researchers, all of them, they were here. They fall under these 4 groups: risk-based regulation and risk analysis, food, feed, and SPS. We all know the importance of SPS in the issue of international trade. Traceability and supporting technologies, education for all stakeholders and research. So we have most of our researchers under this committee. All these BB professors, they are the main professors that are members of this technical committee. And then I think we will even be having a meeting next week, Monday, Tuesday, to discuss this particular issue. So ensuring consistency at all levels. So we developed some unified national guidelines, as I said before, so that some national governments, somebody said they don't want to be using some national government. Again, when we were having National Council last week, because I don't have to fly from Calabar to this place, some of them say, the state government, the state people, they don't want subnational. They say they don't want to be hearing subnational. No, maybe it's own. They say it's own. But when we are talking, we say no. They want to say state, not subnational. The ministry developed national integrated guidelines for food body surveillance and response. I have the copies. I don't know whether it's part of this thing. But I will have the package of almost all these documents that can be shared to people so that at least you can have access and then study them. We have developed international integrated guidelines for food body surveillance and response, completed, and then it's just that we are developing the self-study. You have to do with surveillance. So you have to develop protocols so that it will be easy for people to. So we are working on that. It will soon come out, so that it will make it easy for the states to adapt easily. National guideline for food and medical tests. They have completed that one. desk officers, we have so we organize a webinar on critical topic, even on some of these topics or these documents, to be able to explain, and then the steps, and then the thing that need to be done to them, so that we'll keep them abreast of the development. Next slide, please. Okay, surveillance and response for foodborne disease surveillance. I explained that one before. So don't let me just surveillance and response. So this is what the guideline I said that was developed. Those are the components of the document. And then we'll give, this is a section of the document. So you might not need, don't let us bother ourselves. One thing I want us to realize here is that it is expected of every country to have a 10 priority diseases. And then based on the research that was done with most of our universities, so this is the one that was listed as 10 priority disease in the country, that of serious concern. So when we are even doing the issue of data analysis and data capturing, because we are going to develop the protocols and then some document to capture data from the grassroots. So cholera, viral hepatitis, on down to 10. That's for the one that have been agreed for Nigeria to be our own disease of concern. Okay, next. Okay, this is the surveillance, the chart flow from the community to health facility to this thing. Okay, I think it's okay. We can move it. Food safety and healthy food consumption. Move. Currently, non-communicable diseases, just like I said, such as hypertension and cardiovascular disease, account for about 29% of all deaths in Nigeria. The risk of premature death from NCD between ages of 30 and 70 is 22%. Excess salt consumption is responsible for 1/3 of hypertension cases. You can see why government cannot just hold this. And the body of sodium consumption in Nigeria is significant, with 10% of cardiovascular disease deaths attributed to it. As a country, the national policy identified reduction in the consumption of sodium, sugar, saturated fats can prevent high blood pressure in children and adults without hypertension. It can also reduce the blood pressure as well as prevalent heart attack and stroke in adults with hypertension. Sodium, sugar, and saturated fats, they call them the nutrient of concern. So that's, even presently we are trying to work on this to show that we are, I forgot to mention something I talked about, the issue of another strategy we are using is the issue of front of pack labeling. Sorry, the front of pack labeling, we realize there's another critical strategy that we need to do. Because presently, most of everybody will believe that NAFDAC, they have even registered it, that they put back of pack label. You say they will put the nutrients and some other things there. But how many people even read what is on this? How many people can even interpret the meaning of that label that puts there? Nutrient, fat. So we now realize that we want to have gotten approval for that one to develop front of pack labeling. You know, majority of us may not know, but we have to use a different model. Mexico have their own model, and Britain have their own. Some of them are just, I think, okay, there's a place where you will see it. They're different for the country, but we agree that no, we want to design the one that will be able to capture every level of literacy in the country. So research has been commissioned to do that one so that we know which label will be that this is Nigeria. Even when anywhere in the world, they will know that this is anything that is coming to Nigeria or is manufactured in Nigeria to any other place. This is the kind of warning that is there. So when you see red, if you use traffic lights or the one that one of the other countries are using, if you see other lights, when you see sodium or whatever, and you see red, even if at all you not read what is there, everybody knows that red signals danger. And then we will have even created awareness at the grassroots so that everybody will know. You don't need to start using, maybe reading and interpreting the nutrient profile model that was there. So we are going to use the nutrient profile model to determine the status of that food, whether it's high in sodium, high in sugar, or high in TFA, trans fat acid. Okay, these are some of the things I said before. So please, you can just move it. So we use this, what we use for the sodium reduction that I said. You know, WHO have a model, a technical model that we use. So this is what we follow, the regular monitoring, that's the surveillance of sodium, and sodium track the progress. Then our next industry, I want to emphasize that one, that based on that sodium guideline that I said, the Nigeria is targeting 2030. Actually, the WHO said before that by 2025, we should be able to reduce the population consumption of sodium by 30%. But I realize it's not possible. So that Nigeria are taking it upon itself, and then we have our own benchmark and the targets. But by 2030, we should be able to reduce presently the consumption. So the document, that sodium guideline I said, I thought maybe at the end of the lesson, I'm sure it might not be there. You see, as I said, we have the benchmark for all the categories of foods, your Indomie, your noodle, your bouillon cubes, every categories of food that's marketed or processed in this country, they fall under a particular group. And they have the maximum sodium that could be in them, 100 grams of it. So based on that one, we agree that by 20, instead of changing, just like the way we said, we do this as a consensus with the whole industry, and then the regulators, and then even the stakeholders, even the consumers. That if you reduce something by 30% immediately, it will show. Now, especially the sodium content, before they will say it's fake. That it doesn't have taste. Even people that are now producing the one that is salty, they will now see it as being the best for them because they are used to that taste. So, but if everything applies, that 15% for every category of food, based on the present benchmark. So based on present median, that based on the research that was done. So we are by 2027, January 2027, all the categories of food that have been mapped on that benchmark we have to reduce the formulation by 15% of sodium. So from between that 2 years to 2029, by the end of 2029, it will have to be 30% of what is it presently. So I will show you some sample. You see what I'm saying? Based on the research, this is the national research that was done in collaboration with Cardiovascular Disease Research Center in the University of Abuja. We also have a National Sodium Study Group, and it was done in collaboration with the Johns Hopkins University and some other universities. Yes. Even the WHO provided consultants to us to do the analysis and everything. So in the country, independent, even the industries who are even trying to argue with us, say, except this is not your product. You do independently, go to the market, get all the label, the quality, what they analyze to be on the product. And then within some period of years, you do 2020, 2022, and then thereabout. You now have to even use statistical principles to analyze and know which one is the benchmark that we need to set. So a typical example is like in 11 bread, the current median in the country, based on all the bakery products and all the things that we use in the country, we realize that about 900 milligram per gram. So by 2027, it means it will be we reduce by 50%. It will give you 765. So by 2030, by January 2020, this will be the standard formulation for bread, the sodium in bread, 630 grams per 100 grams. So, but you can see what WHO is even targeting, 370, which means that even with us, we will not be able to meet it. But we know that at least gradually, by the time we are able to achieve our whole media, because we can't go from 900 to 370 straight like that. It will affect the quality of the product, and then it will affect the economy. You know, with those who are doing all these things to save people, we still have to consider the industry and then the economy as well. So in the bullion keeps, which that's what almost with the federal government did, the food consumption pattern, micronutrients and macronutrient consumption in the country. Less than 98% of Nigerians consume bullion. So when we are now trying to even say that we need to fortify bullion, indirectly if you fortify it, you will be encouraging people to continue taking it, whereas it's the one that is contributing sodium to food consumption than any of the other food district. So presently, it's having 22,000 milligrams. So see, and then the benchmark that WHO established is 13,000. But for Nigeria, we believe that by 2027, we reduce to by 15%, then by 2030, 30%, and to be able to even give us this thing. Then other ones, noodle as well. You can see what we have there. Just that we just use that as a sample of how the benchmark and the target was established. So let's move. As I said before, front of pack labeling. Even by definition, it says it's a simplified nutrition label placed prominently in the front of a packaged food. It highlights nutrients of concern: sodium, sugar, and saturated fats, using easy to interpret colors, symbols, and or text. It helps shoppers compare products quickly and choose healthier options. By the time you are aware that, okay, you need to be conscious of the food that is high in sodium or in sugar or in TFA, so you know that. So the dealer will have given you the warning. Once you pick it, it will have indicated that it's having it's high in sodium, high in sugar, or high in TFA. So these are the examples I was saying before. So you see, the South Africa have developed their own. They are listening. Argentina have done. Cameroon has even done. The UK have done. Then you see low fat, low saturated fat. You see them on the bed. We are trying to do. We say we are not going to copy anybody. We are going to do our research, and then our research has been commissioned that to know which one will be suitable for us as a country, so that we will know that at least we have every state country has its own peculiarity. We want to know whether, so that it's a research that we establish, so that you know if we imported that design. So, okay, that's okay, FOPA design. We are working on it, and then by the time it's established, everybody will be involved. Challenges and lessons. You see the statement there. All has not been easy. We have serious challenges across boards. Some of the challenges include coordination at the national level, capacity constraint, just like we said before, funding shortfall, funding. Competing priorities, and it was into development partner support. We encourage also support the country in all these areas, and then data sufficiency. In most cases, we don't. That's one of the challenges we have to do. And I'm using this opportunity. These are researchers. Though I know that it's not easy, because most of the challenges we have at times are when people use their personal resources to conduct research, and then they don't want to release it for people freely. So that's the challenge, even when we have and have in the codex. I don't know who is aware, who is familiar with it's not here because it's one of our good supporters in the codex activities. So we need data. You cannot even talk for any international forum without data. It's data you need to support, and that's what we also need. Just like I said, when we were working on that sodium benchmark, if not for our own data, people are ready to take government to court. The industries, they are not ready to use that because the data was generated. It's not an WHO. Even presently, as I am saying, when we are able to even collect the data in country, we were able to provide benchmark that WHO does not have. So they were now using it to be one of the models for other countries of the world to use some of our own food categories we have in the country. So please, let's cooperate, let's collaborate. So let's make our data available. And like I said, we'll use the means of even the government at the level. And I said we are trying to encourage them to support research. Because you know, sorry. So, in conclusion, as a continent, I'm talking to us as this is our African regional program to let us prioritize food safety as a critical matter of public health and trade importance. Let's build a lasting strategic interventions by developing and implementing robust policies based on country-specificity, engage stakeholders across various sectors such as health, agriculture, environment, trade, education, academia, and private sector. Any other thing for me? So, call to action. Safe food is not just a regulatory requirement, but a fundamental right to every African. Let's commit to implementing impactful food safety instruments and interventions. It is not enough to ensure we consume safe food. We need to make sure that they are healthy as well, just like I said before. So thank you. Okay, so these are some of the documents. Some of the documents that were developed. I said we have copies of them that I will share. We will share to give you the link so that people can access it. National Policy on Food Safety and Quality and Surveillance Plan 2023. National Integrated Guideline for Foodborne Disease Surveillance and Response, report of the assessment of foodborne disease surveillance and response system in Nigeria to be able to assess our capacity before we will now develop the guideline. The National Guideline for Sodium Reduction 2025, sorry, it's 2024. It's 2024. And then National Guideline for Food and Medical Test 2024. Unified Training Manual on good hygiene and good manufacturing and principle of hazard analysis and critical control points. And also, we developed one strategy presently that we are working with. We realize that NYSC is a veritable tool, platform that we can take the gospel of food safety to the grassroots because they are always anywhere and then they do their CD. So I have a collaboration, right, MOU with the National Youth Service Corps, so that they have created food safety group in their CD. I think they call it CD, Community Development Services. So they have created food safety group there. And then we have developed the manual that it will be used to train the NYSC people, staff. Then you now train the NYSC, the core members. So in their group, every Wednesday or Tuesday they are doing their CD. They go to the community to educate them. So that manual is already in Abuja, and it has even been launched. But the only thing that the program will soon start. And then we need, it's part of all the states of the federation will be part of that team that will be operating in the NYSC when they are there. We have all the food specialists within us, and then we have that manual that we use so that at least you'll be able to educate. That is also like training the trainer. So when you train the core members, you're able to carry it down to the grassroots and then to do also all of the sensitization that needs to be done. So on that note, say thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. John. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. John Ho Hatonda, who is the Director and National Coordinator for Food Safety and Quality Program of the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare. Here we've talked to us a lot about the policy in place for food safety, because the topic of the presentation was food safety as a public health imperative, the Nigerian story. So we focused mainly on Nigeria this time around, and we've talked about the policy outlook, the policy in place for food safety in Nigeria. It made us to realize food safety is not just about food. It's involved in trade, the trade sector is involved in health, environment, even science and technology, agriculture, and so many other areas. So it's multidisciplinary, multi-sectoral, multi-level. The states are involved, the local governments, because the woman that is selling on the road has nothing to do with the federal government of Nigeria. And I'm glad that the ministry, or your state Ministry of Health, is also here. Maybe they will have a little time to tell us what they are doing concerning some of these things that he has mentioned. And he also told us about the National Food Safety Management Committee. He said the policy framework was implemented in 2023, and is an holistic and management approach. And then he talked about the implementation, he talked about he told us about all the different steps that are involved in coming up with that policy. He talked about linking food safety and the health sector. And then towards the end, he talked about the challenges, coordination at the national level, cross-cutting countries. We have SOHN, who is in charge of something, NAFDAC is in charge. I work with fish. I know that when it comes to fish, the people in Federal Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture, we said they are in charge of processed fish. And then they will say if the processed fish is going to the supermarkets, NAFDAC will say they are the ones that is in charge, and then somebody wants to register. He's not sure whether to go to NAFDAC or whether to go to, federal fisheries. I think all those things are part of what he said. And then the capacity constraint data culture. For example, mycotoxins, some people believe that it is what mode is growing or that is sweeter. Like some people believe it is about yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't know whether anybody has heard that before, that it is sweeter than the present one. So how do you now change to tell them that if you see mold growing, don't eat it? He also talked to us about the lesson that has been learned. He talked about data, and I could see everybody murmuring, he wants to collect data, you did not give me money to do research. So why will you come and collect my data and you expect me to give him? So I hope they will be able to look into some of those things. So the lesson learned, he talked about the legislative framework of it. He also told us that collaboration is essential. The ministry people cannot do it alone. The Ministry of Health cannot do it alone. They have to collaborate with the Ministry of Agri, Economy, and so many, even trade and investment, and so many other departments. And then in conclusion, he told us that we need to prioritize food safety. We need to build a lasting strategy for intervention, and we also need to engage the stakeholders. It's not just a group of people sitting down in the office and believing that when they come to the woman selling something at Bodija Market, she will accept whatever they have said without carrying him or carrying her along when they were doing it. And then the call to action is that we should not just consume safe food, but we should also ensure that our food is healthy as well. So I'm sure people have so many questions going up in their mind, but I will want to ask mine first before we continue. So I know, don't worry, we have enough time because this is important to all of us, I believe. So now, talking about what can we do about this cross-cutting mandates, NAFDAC, SOHN, Federal Ministry, and things like that. What can we do to ensure that they all know they are different, they all work together collaboratively to get something good for the country? And then you kept me mentioning awareness creation. I was just thinking, we see NOA doing something on don't cross when there is red light. You see, I'm a good Nigerian, a resilient Nigerian, I live by the citizens code. You know, you hear all those songs. I expect that we should be hearing some things about food safety. So I think there is a need to collaborate with all these national orientation agencies so that we will be, I'm sure a lot of people watch the television. So at least let them see something, even if it is once in a week, that they see something on food safety. They, you know, it will go a long way in helping us that. And when you were also talking, I was like, most of these things are from the grassroots. The person that is selling, that is hawking rice or has a small joint for rice, the federal government will not come to that. So what is the state government and the local government doing? Food handlers test. I don't know how many people, how many food handlers. They don't even know what is called food handlers test. Not talk of going through. So that's why I said maybe the state people too will come up to tell us what they are doing, because it is the state, it is grassroots that gets to us as individuals and not the ministry. So you can say something.
Thank you very much. We always said the issue of overlapping of functions. I think even last week, opening on the TV, on television, when I was having this, that is over seriousness of some of our officers. There is no overlapping in the functions of NAFDAC or SON. They have different distinct different functions. SON is a state standard. Period. Like I'm talking about the issue of sodium now. You know, it is NAFDAC, the SON is the one that will develop, they have to reformulate, they are the one that produce standard for even bread, for all these things. So when their function is to develop that standard, which NAFDAC will use in the formulation that SON will do. We say maybe 100 grams of sodium, that's what will be in the standard. And the formulation will be there, documented, and then, so if anybody is using it, it is there, that standard is used at the interest level. The NAFDAC will use that to develop regulation. NAFDAC use regulation to inspect, to register, because it have to fall within the list. So where is the overlapping? But whereas I have been experiencing it for long, it's just that, just like I usually say, that it is based on the overlapping, over-seriousness of some of the officers. Even some, they don't even have the understanding, even to higher level. That's why in those days I've seen where two chief executives were fighting. So it is, yes, it has happened before. Is it the boundaries? So what is there is difference between regulation and standard? Like, so this sodium I say down, we have, the NAFDAC has even placed it on their website. We are developing this regulation for sodium reduction. SON is doing its own. It is what in the standard that NAFDAC will use as their own regulation. So it's just because of all this, and as I used to say it, that is why the reason why even the issue of functions of the state, the local government, that's why that National Food Safety and Quality Bill was developed based on the provision of the policy. So it went to the National Assembly and they realized that when NAFDAC register, SON is another thing. Next year will not come. You know, next year comes also. Recently, I heard that some people are coming to complain during our National Food Safety and Quality that what concerns FCCPC about another regulation. So everybody, FCCP is a consumer protection issue. Complaints, all those things. What involve them go and do inspection. So some of those things are clearly stated, and then when we have, that's why I said we are talking of the coordination, national coordination mechanism. And that NFSMC, that's why I say it should be established in all the states. I remember issue came up some time ago that we said that it is within, if NAFDAC is there, SON is there, FCPC is there, even at the state level, when there's any going to be environmental health officers are there, So you have to use that platform to streamline activities. So that's why the importance of collaboration and then the issue of that national state food safety management committee to be established at the level. That is one. With the other one, I didn't remember. Overlapping. Okay, then our awareness. That's why I said it is everybody's responsibility. First of all, let's see it as our everybody's business. Food safety, that's our slogan. Are you aware? We are all food stakeholders here. Food safety, everyone's business. Wherever, even in the market. Me, I know, one day I was coming and just in that market. Imagine, you might not know, somebody that was peeling granules. You want to put it inside a bottle. And other peeling, he used this is the way. He didn't know. Because that is what they have been used to, and you will not even be conscious. Even educated people might not even listen that way that, okay, you are contaminating it. But when you don't say, everybody. So before you know it, so that you have preached, you have dropped a message here. So that person next time will not do it gradually. And then, as I said, we have program with the National Orientation Agency. We realize that they have tentacles at all the local government of the federation. So we are working with them to do. We are trying to develop awareness package that they will use. Even in the local government, there's some jingles that will be developed that they will hear occasionally. And so anyway, and even some of our NAFDAC. When you look at it, I think we have on Mondays, one of the days during the week, they usually, except most of us who don't have time, usually you and your health. So they use the opportunity to talk about the issue of this sodium consumption, the issue of registration or any information that they want to pass across to on food, either Monday or Tuesday on NTA. So we are trying to use another platform that can be used. Thank you.
Let's know how many people so that we know. Okay, Dr. Kulo, 1, 2, 3, 4. Professor Tase, 5. Mr. Apola, 6. Okay, lady inside. Lady in the 7.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. For me, I think that we've done a lot of talking and there's no implementation. We have a lot of policies every day, 2020, 2025, 2030. At the end of the day, you see that there's nothing done. We're still going back to, I can remember some years back, they talked about all these alcoholic drinks, that, after a while they will scrap it, but now, even a primary school boy has access to all these tiny sachets that are very cheap and everybody is drinking indiscriminately. What is the government doing about all this? It's high time we stop talking and start implementation and start enforcing. The people that are not meant to enforce will take a bribe and there's nothing done about it. And we're back not to square one, but square zero. So I think we've done enough of talking and talking. What are we doing to enforce? Because I think that's what we really understand in this part of the world. And thorough, sincere enforcement that will bring all these policies to play, and we're going to see in reality the effects that we desire. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, sir. Fortunately, I'm a practitioner, so the bulk of what you have said, I relate very well. So I have two major areas of concern, and Dr. Leiter just lifted the two out of my mouth. Well, I play in the fisheries value chain as a processor, okay, and I collaborate with, I belong to an association, African Women Fish Processors and Traders Network. It's a continental body with chapters across the countries in Africa. Just the immediate past PRO. Now, the first area of concern is what she raised. When people come to give talks, they talk about SON, talk about NAFTAC as regulators, but I have never seen where Federal Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture have been listed as a regulator. And fisheries is a sector on its own under the Agric Ministry. So why, and now more so that we have what you call Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, why should FDF and A not be a distinct regulator for the fisheries value chain? And let's avoid all the duplication. We get so embarrassed at times. Now that will come on this, fisheries, will come on this, and insisting that it's only on export that fisheries should play on. I need to understand that better, because all these things are involving money. That's number one. Then two, the committee, the Food Safety Committee formed, okay, I just mentioned my association. We are strong advocates and collaborators with artisanal fishermen and women, and we do a lot of things. We do capacity building, and so we are involved in grassroots. But I am sure that we are not part of that committee, else I would have known. You need this information, sensitization, and awareness to spread. You need people like us to be in that system, especially as we play among the women and the youths. So that's another one. And I know you mentioned funding as a challenge, but like Dr. Lighton has stated, funding, no funding, health is very basic. Now in Department of Fisheries, one challenge they have is capacity in terms of staffing. They are supposed to be doing a lot of monitoring and evaluation, but they cannot go far. I'm not a staff there, but I always speak for them, because when we come and when it comes to food safety, they don't even have enough strength or capacity to go to the fields to see what is obtaining there. You understand? So how can they be able to properly regulate? I play in the export value chain too. I have an accredited facility by EU and all that. So I process for exporters. But when we have one or two, they cannot even go around to see to what these facilities are doing, our protocols and our principles. How can now our fish products be quality enough for export and become competitive? So these are areas of concern that I need you, to look into. Federal Department of Fisheries and Aquaculture should be considered in all these food safety policies and, whatever we're doing, so that we playing in this value chain also can come up, and let NAFDAC face food and others, but fish, let Federal Department of Fisheries face us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation, sir. Sir, you talked about linking food safety and health security. There is one aspect of food safety that is less talked about, and that is food adulteration and food fraud. Food adulteration is a critical problem in Nigeria, as we all know, or maybe we may not be too aware of it. So I know NAFDAC is actually doing some things about it, because we got some information a few months ago about them sensitizing people on food fraud. That's adulteration of different types of food products in the market. What is the health sector doing about food fraud or food adulteration? Because I felt I was going to hear something from your presentation about health and adulteration or adulterated products, but I didn't see anything on that. So what is the health sector doing about food adulteration? And also, I know NAFDAC is trying to nab people that adulterate different food components in the market. So we would like to see or hear from you rather what your sector is also doing about that aspect of food safety. Thank you.
Let me start from behind, the last one. We are talking, just like I said, this sector is sectoral. And everybody has its own role. Ministry of Health develop policy. They don't regulate. It is our agency that do regulation. Just like I said, it is an enforcement. So we develop regulation to enforce the provisions of the policy. So the issue of food fraud, as you said now, we are all aware. At the policy level, if you see, I don't know whether you saw something like I talk about InfoSan, International Food Network, Safety Network, even internally. So is NAFDAC. And I cannot even the issue of food, we cannot even handle that one without even having the collaboration of all other stakeholders. That is why even SON have its own role. FCCPC, as I said, that is the area where I'm using sharpening and FCCPC to work towards now. And then they are doing, to the extent I'm surprised that even they are having laboratory. FCCPC have a laboratory now. So, but the issue of, as you said, the issue of adulteration of food fraud, it's a concept that everybody, I believe, some of us are, maybe the major stakeholders, they might know, it might look new, but it's there, and it's an international problem. So the sensitization, strengthening regulatory framework will need to be properly worked on, and I'm sure NAFDAC is trying to do a lot of things in tackling the issue of food fraud. Labeling, we understand what my food fraud. That is just to give information that is not even there. Call it what is not there. So the issue of awareness, that's one of the things that we even try to say, that awareness, creation, sensitization, even have to be strengthened. And then it's not what only one agency can do. It's not what only agency can do. So it involves all of us, and even we, the stakeholders, the consumers as well. So even the reason that we are even using, just let me use the opportunity to even inform you that we even have to use the CSOs. Some of these we encourage people to even establish, to form consumer. We have one that we call Acafp. We encourage them to be part of some of these food safety committee. Acafp, collaborative. I'm trying to consumer advocacy and nutrition something initiative. That's headed by Professor Okumwela. We even developed pamphlets to tell you when you see food something, this is what is this is the way it should be. This is the fake information that will be there. So they are there. So those are the kind of things we are doing. We are trying to do to encourage, to educate people, so that at least when people are aware, it will be easy for you to take a decision and then to implement whatever thing you grant. NAFDAC is doing some of these post-market surveillance and all those things. But they are being overwhelmed. I'm not defending them, but the situation of the way things are in the country. They are usually overwhelmed. Then the issue of fishing association. Okay, you said you were supposed to be part of the National Food Safety Management Committee. Just like I said, at the federal level, it's usually, we have even all farmers association, they are part of this thing. Apart from the Ministry of Agric and other things, we have all farmers associations are there. So it will be, let me just try to say, for those in the regions you are, at the state, if you are at the state level, you can be, but we will try to strengthen it at the federal level. But at times, I know that what the association was very active at a point, especially in Codex. You know, Eloma, you know, Mrs. President, the president are very active. One of our, Mrs. Okunola, is, no, not Okunola, your former president. Is from fishery. Okay, so well, that will be, it will be looked into. Just like I'm saying that I don't want to stay, but I know that it shouldn't. What I'm hearing, it shouldn't be. Then it comes to the issue of say fishery, fish or fish product that is not even properly regulated, and things are not done the way it should be. Well, we'll look into it. No, you know that one is, they are just coming up. You know, they are all under. So that I know that one said that as a ministry, you know. Used before, but that's okay. Maybe that's that. I don't know why, because that's why I am very close to. I know the person. This Miss, how can I forget? She's retired now. He's even used to be your chairman, even African something. A woman. Exactly. Ariela. So he's very active. Even if you use him in Codex, he knows everything about the issue of what is required, even the issue of exporting and all those things. There's a guideline. There's a Codex guidelines and then some this thing, code of practice for it. And I chair Codex for almost how many years? Up to just this year, because I'm soon retired, so I have to hand over to somebody recently. So that's why I'm saying that we need to look at it critically. I know that it's not that we fishery section was just pushed aside. They are part of the regulatory framework that was established before. Okay, well, as you said, that we should talk. And how do we enforce? I think I've answered that one. The people that have the mandate to enforce are trying their best, but the only thing that the best is not good enough. So we'll still be encouraging them, and then we need the support of every one of us to see what we can do to strengthen the regulatory framework in the country. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, sir, for your presentation. I have some questions here for you. How have policies been monitored and enforced to ensure they are working as intended? Because it's not enough to implement policies without proper monitoring and evaluation. So, and my second question is, what funding opportunities does your ministry have for researchers, especially students? I personally, I think I encountered such as a student wanting to collect, carry out a research in a state, and I was, one of the requirements was that I go through, of course, you have to go through ethical clearance. You have to pay to get ethical clearance in a state to carry out a research that will in turn benefit the state. I think such issues should be looked into. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So first of all, I want to thank Mr. Tanda for his wonderful presentation. I think it was spot on, and it gives us an opportunity to ponder more on the conversation. Secondly, I would want to say that the Michigan State University-led RSM 2SNF project particularly the food security team led by Professor Obadino, are excited to hear about the progress made with the NYSC MOU. MSU's RSM2SNF was a standing partner with the Federal Ministry of Health. And so one of my takeaways from here, or our takeaways from here, is to inform the Gates Foundation of this progress and hopefully look forward to partnering with the with the Federal Ministry of Health to move forward those conversations. One thing that has remained, everybody keeps on mentioning, is implementation. So I would like to pose a possible solution. We all know about the special marshals of the FRS, Federal Road Safety Corps, where they have people of integrity who volunteer to serve as marshals to enhance road safety. We also, some of us who live in associations, we know about vigilantes who volunteer to provide security. Now, the interesting part of this model is that these special marshals are recognized by government, FRSC, on the special marshal level. Vigilantes are recognized by the police or the NSDC. So they are active because security is an important thing that affects all of us. Road safety affects all of us. So would the health stakeholders, whether it is Federal Ministry of Health, whether it is NAFDAC, consider setting up like food safety marshals who would be empowered, you're not paying them. Empowerment has nothing to do with paying. Just that recognition in markets, in motor parks, and so that they get the requisite training and they become your eyes, right? They give you, they help you do what your mandate has asked of you. So it's just a suggestion of something that we could look at. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Afulayo. I'm from Federal College of Fishery and Marine Technology. Before I ask my question, sir, I would like to say one or two words, sir. I'm sure we're all aware of plastic rice that flooded our market and plastic egg. Yes, plastic eggs. There was one time I saw it online and how they make it, and people are buying it. I have opportunity to buy one. Then I went to a supermarket that I don't want to mention the name. I bought bottled water and some drink, and I found out that those drinks and the bottled water is expired. So I didn't even notice it earlier. It was my son that said, "Mommy, have you checked the expiry date?" And I said, "Okay, check." And he said it's expired, so we return it. The next thing I heard from a light that is there is bad to Rechi. And I was like, "What is bad to Rechi?" So somebody was like, "They don't understand English," and I laughed. And somebody was like, "After all, give our money back." And I said, it's not about giving me money back and reshelving those products. It's about you removing them, destroy them, give me a better one. And that is where one of the questions I want to ask about the safety marshal. Then the second one is that how far is your ministry have planned to use a grassroots advocacy to address this food safety? Because we researchers will do our work and will continue to do our work, and God will continue to strengthen us. But the truth about it is that the same set of us, when we go out to advocate or even talk to people or enlighten them, they look at us like sadists. Yes, even at home at times, my mom will say, "Kofu has come again." Even in my community, they will tell me, "She has come again." There was a time I went to a place, I saw them using a bleaching agent to put inside red oil and a machine to mix it up, and it turned to groundnut oil. I witnessed it. And I asked the woman, I said, "Do you eat this?" He said, "No, people want cheap groundnut oil, so, and I don't want to be out of the business." Yes. 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 And I felt very bad. I felt very bad. And I asked the woman, the sealed oil is how much? She said 16.5. I said, the one you have done is how much? She said 12.5. I said, what's the difference between it? How much is the difference? Then the second question is that, what plan has your ministry put in places to advocate public health? Especially in the local government or the lower Keda area. And I felt that a course should be introduced to school, especially the primary school, because they are the best researcher. Whatever you give them, they don't throw it away like we adults. If there is a course that is being introduced, when I was in primary school, we did elementary science. I don't think there's something like that again, sir. We were told that what we eat determines who we are, our health especially. And we know that when it comes to food and health, it's an input and output thing. Please, what are the roles that your ministry have put in place or the plan they have to make sure that we have a good health in this country, sir? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Atila, for the presentation. I know my questions have been said, but I want to commend you on the last statements you made concerning using the NYC, the COP members to create awareness to the grassroots, because that's where I want to bring out my question. I remember when we were growing up, we used to have these health inspectors coming to our house. They call them wole wole. But now, we don't see them anymore. Their focus has shifted to established organization. I work in QSR. I know how many health inspectors that we receive in a week, in a month. If you are saying that short of manpower, I disagree. Because they can still spread their energy around to go to residential area. They don't go there anymore. They will even send letters to us that they are coming, allowing us to do window dressing, which shouldn't be. It should be unannounced so that we can enforce and to see what we are practicing as food safety and quality practitioners. So I believe that fine, much as we said that creating awareness, collaboration, food safety is everybody's business. But with the little manpower that we have, they can still be going to those residential areas. At least it's within their local area. Once they are going to the established organization, they should go to all the houses to inform, to make them aware of keeping their environment clean. Not only establish organization for whatever reason they are coming for. Fine, they are keeping us on track, but they are coming for another thing which I'm not supposed to say. So there is need for them to spread their energy round across the value chain. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, let me just start from the one that said the issue of environmental health officers. No, it has, we all grew up with it and we know how important, how they are saved. But unfortunately, the issue is just gradually eroding. Even when you see this policy, it was even reinstated. It's placed in the, approved in the policy that the environmental health officers, though they're under Ministry of Environment now, they have to be reinstated. The issue of agric extension officers, because they are the one that will encourage, this issue transcends so many areas. If we have environmental health officers that go to one place or another, at least you do the right thing, people will be able to okay, it's okay. Okay. So it will be easy for us to do those kind of sensitization at the grassroots level. And it was not the even agric extension officers that we will encourage people, even in the farm. There are a lot of different ways that this food get contaminated, even on the field, due to inappropriate application of herbicides or even fertilizers or the crop farm implements. So it was there clearly that the government should reinstate the issue of agric extension officers, issue of environmental health officers. But health will not say you will go and force the Minister of Environment, although we work together. Just like I said, we are operating on one health approach now. But those things, those are the kind of things that we put on ground to let this thing and the issue of food safety be properly handled. And I normally talk about the issue of the special marshal. It was even one of the in the provision of the policy as well, and even at the federal level, or usually on most of the World Food Safety Day, we usually for the past 5 years, 4 years now, we make sure that on during that time we create a sensation, and then we appoint people. We call them food safety champions. Maybe I will encourage the states also to do all that. We usually send pamphlets to the states so that at least for that year we will usually get some people to train in the market. You know, we get some of them maybe in the vegetable seller section. We pick plan like that, and then we train them. That one we always have assurance WHO will support us for that year, even if they don't do any other thing. So we give them, we train them, so they will call them. Even when we about for 2 years now, when minister is around, he usually give them like induct them. Let me put that one. We will induct them. We will have Canon put on their neck. We give them as food safety champions. So they are residents, they are members of the committee, the market committees. So when they see something, it's their responsibility. We give them the license, not license per se, the permission to that anything they see, even their colleagues fear them. Because they know that if you are doing something that is not good, we have the means of reporting to the ministry, and then we take action. So those are the strategies we put in. You know, you cannot be everywhere. And then we that are even at the federal, we have to do some structures on ground that will be able to work even when you are not there. So that's why the issue of the food champion, just like the way you're talking of those marshal, we have that structure, and then we want us at the state level, at the local government level, to encourage things like that as well. So, plan on ground to advocate public health, as you said. I don't think there's any, I have anything I can say about that again. But what I will say is, when you see something, say something. That is what the essence. When you see what is not okay, even my own, I will say, let all of us that are here, as educated as we are, you will see some issues even in your house, which you are dealing with people that are educated. You find it difficult to even drive it. You find it difficult, but you still have to insist. This is what you want. So, and if you have to report, so some people will have the conscience, and then God will touch them. Say God will touch their conscience, and then they will change. Some people will tell you, this is something they have been doing before you were born. This is the way they have been handling it before you were born. Things like that. What will you do? When you know the truth, say the truth. So let us all be the apostle of food safety, whenever you find ourselves, whether convenient or no convenient, say what you know. And then, like if you see say the plastic rice or all those kind of things, that's it. In NAFDAC even have the place for where you can even lodge complaint. Federal Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC have to lodge complaint that they can now investigate. They cannot be everywhere. So, but if there any information you have, just like I said, when you see something, say something. And okay, I've been looking for you. So we thank you for the cooperation. Just like it's one of the cooperation we've been having with Professor Badina and then Professor Stasi. We have signed. We have been able to sign. You know, it has to do with legal. Anything we are doing because we want to give it a proper perspective, especially the legal aspect. So we are able to sign the MOU, I think about in the middle of last month, we were able to sign the MOU. I think I've communicated you. Yeah, we are able to sign the MOU. It took time, the minister have to review because they are taking the ministry, some of these things, we don't tie it up. They keep taking ministry to court on a little something. After, you say for the purpose of food safety, we say, okay, let's register some people so that they can be working with us at the grassroots level and another. You see people go and be carrying people's food goods. Some of the NGOs are listening. They go ahead and go and be even be confiscating. When did they become NAFDAC? When did they become environmental board? Listen. So and they are doing illegal things. And then it's because we had an MOU with them, they have to start taking. We have to defend the issue. So which is being, so the minister was not comfortable with that. Now said that now we have to go thorough arrangement. So we have to go to court, do everything, put everything, all the legal department have to do before we can sign an MOU. But luckily, even with NYSC, you can imagine with NYSC, even at that level, because of the experience we have had with legal issue, so we have to take our time to do everything. All the legal team were able to work on it. We have established, we have signed the MOU, and then it's just for the next is to train the trainers that will take it to the state's programs. Even we will have done this for this year, but because of the time factor and some other, I think some factor came from your side too about funding and all those things. So that's why we couldn't do at the scale that we planned. And so we will do that. But the MOU has been signed. It's up for the implementation. Funding, okay, M&E for policy. Somebody mentioned M&E for policy. Well, usually, any policy developed have a separate chapter for M&E, and they usually follow it up. But you know, you cannot start talking about M&E when the document, you get to a certain level where you're able to say, at least you have implemented to a certain level, you need to follow up, monitor what you have done, and then evaluate the progress. So it's part of it. The one for ethical approval, let me even get clarification. Do you get ethical approval for?
Yes, I think it's normal. Because even we in Lagos, we pay to get ethical approval from NIMA. Even though we are also a federal ministry, we still pay. So, but maybe they will look into it. But it is normal for them to say pay.
So because I didn't even know that you get it at level back because they have a national ethical committee at the ministry. With anything that has to do with woman, this thing, you must get approval from that committee. So, but I thought maybe it's hard, but they are the local. So we meet, discuss further on that one. So, on that note, let me say.
I've just been informed that our food is getting cold. So the three remaining
Number 8. Who is number 8? So my name is Ben from the German military, and I also represent an NGO here in Nigeria. If I understood you correctly, you said you do not have a labeling for Nigeria. So a front labeling. So one of the things we did as part of the European Union project is that the military needed label to be functioning. So we came up with one under the Food Safety for Africa initiative. My question is, would you be willing to also take this labeling forward, even though if we leave it to Nigeria, know when you want to come up with yours? So would you, and this is a color initiated label, because we did a research on the acceptance amongst the people, because we don't only have educated but also uneducated people. So would this be something that your ministry would be willing to, because the work has already been done, the money has already been spent, a label is there, so is it something that you are open to in terms of collaboration? Thank you.
Okay, sorry, just inform me, the food is not at the back here, it's at the restaurant and it's getting cold. So the last two people, please, we'll meet with him maybe during lunch. But I want to give the state minutes to say something on what we have said.
Thank you so much. Let me appreciate all the contributions so far. And what strikes me most is part of the challenges that we face at the subnational level, which is so the director has talked about the issue of what we call mandate confusion or mandate overlap, as we call it, which is very rampant even at the state level and local government level. With the newly revised national policy of food safety, it has been captured that in Nigeria, just as we have it in developing world, the informal sector dominates our food system landscape. And that is where we have the huge, humongous challenges when it comes to food safety. But meanwhile, capturing that sector, that informal sector, we discover that there are the grassroots where the local government people belong. And when you go to the local government, this is where we have the agricultural department, environmental health department, and the health department. These three departments are supposed to work collaboratively together. But what we discover is that it's only the environmental health officers that are active. The other two departments are not well aware of their responsibility when it comes to issue of food safety. And the environment, this is my dear co-participant mentioned something about environmental health officers. And you see, when you make mention of the street vendors, the buka women, all these markets people, the traditional markets, the local markets, this is where the environmental health officers are supposed to be working. But they will not go there. And that is where we have most of the challenges. The regulated food businesses, they are well taken care of by SOA, NAFDAC, even at the state level. But this informal sector is where the challenges are. But local government people are not even aware of their challenges. We see this as being a gap, which I want the National Food Safety Committee and the Federal Ministry of Health to note. This is where we have the most of the challenges. And again, another problem we have is that we've been talking about food safety since morning, and this will be discussing up to Wednesday. But the concept is that we have food security, we have food nutrition, we have food safety. They are all interconnected, even though they are not the same concepts. But the huge challenge now is that I was telling the national coordinator in the morning, at the state level, what we discover is that everybody knows that food safety is being as low priority. And it has been subsumed in many states. We're having a lot of challenges at the state level in Oyo State. Because at the national level, we now have National Council on Nutrition, just established about 2-3 years ago. We have Committee on Food, Nutrition and Security at the National Assembly and State Assembly. We have State Committee on Food and Nutrition, and we have National Committee on Food and Nutrition. Very active, and they are working collaboratively together. Where I'm going is that all these activities are being sponsored, they are being followed up. Even the Federal Ministry of Health, they now have Department of Nutrition at the detriment of food safety. So that even at the state level, as active as we are in Oyo State, if you are talking about food safety, even among us, there are civil servants in the food system landscape. They get confused easily. They will tell you what is food safety. We are talking about nutrition. It's a huge challenge. We have gone to the Oyo State House of Assembly like 3-4 times. The newly established committee will be inviting us. Come and talk about food and nutrition. When we got there, they will be talking about food safety. They got us confused all the time we go there. And it now takes a lot of efforts to educate these people. We have seen this as gaps which the Food Safety Management Committee wants to address. Because that is, let us face it, at the government level, we have a long way to go. As much as we are trying in Oyo State, which we know might not be available in other states. And we've been mentioning it, government has a key role to play, even though all of us are stakeholders. Government has a key role to play, and if government doesn't even know where to go or where to start from, we are all in a mess. And I want to appreciate food safety for Africa. They have been contributing a lot to our efforts in Oyo State. And with other Professor Tate, that's the RSM, and other projects. They've been working with us, and we hope that even in national policy, we have to domesticate it. We have to educate even the stakeholders. It's a mosaic program. All the sectors and the ministries, we have to educate ourselves to know where we are going. Because the gap, until we feel it, awareness starts before we can take action. If there's no awareness, you can't do anything. And that is where we want to educate, even from the commissioner level and top management level across the ministries. We need to educate ourselves to know that we have a huge challenge. And until every sector, every ministry knows their responsibility, there won't be any effort. So that's the effort we are trying to make in Oyo State. And let me tell us, people have been talking about food fraud. In May this year in Oyo State, with the NCDC, we conducted a multi-hazard risk assessment workshop. And yes, we were represented, and we made sure that food poisoning was made one of the identified and assessed risks. What we are planning in Oyo State Ministry of Health is to have a platform whereby people can report their food safety concerns. Because even here today, I've listened to about 3 people. My dear lecturer talked about the issue of adding bleach to palm oil to turn it to not groundnut oil. It's not groundnut, they are just bleaching it. So my dear co-participant here mentioned adding lime to palm oil. Even some people, they had Sudan 3. And we have close collaboration with some of these local market associations. And presently, I don't know whether we are aware there's one, they call it water. In 2019, Federal Ministry of Health came to Oyo State.
Please, let's be together, please. We are rounding up.
For the southwestern states, to sensitize us on the use of calcium carbide to force-fried foods. And since then, we have been engaging all these market associations, especially those that deal with foods. Lately, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we went to the House of Assembly and were invited, and on the issue of using unsafe practices to force-fried foods. And when we invited this association, the executive, they told us there's a particular, they call it water. They just call it water. You know, calcium carbide, when you force-fried it, but now they have water, they just water. It's a chemical. And yes, they have promised us, they have even gotten it. In fact, their consultant got it from Osun State. And they said, this water in oats comes from outside Nigeria. If you add it to your fruit, be it your mango, be it your banana, in matter of minutes, it's right. That's a danger. What I'm telling you now is that just yesterday, one of the secretary of one of the associations came to us to meet my director in our office. And the work we are doing now is to now engage, because these associations, they have their farmers who are members of the association, who plant these crops, harvest it and bring it to the markets. We are planning to have a meeting with them this December to let them know that they are, because to a large extent, these people, they are not even aware of dangers of what they are doing. Even though they know that they will not consume it themselves. But the idea of let us just prescribe and sell it quickly and get our money. So far that's briefly what we are doing in Oyo State concerning the issue of what the issues being raised here this afternoon. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, Mr. Ikudaisi, for your contribution. I'm sure you all agree with me that this has been the most interactive session we've had today, because food safety is everybody's business and we all want to eat healthy. So I want to thank Mr. John Atonda once again for the presentation. Thank you very much. We appreciate your coming. And I want to thank all the participants for their patience and for their contribution. Please let's start together for ourselves. So thank you. I think we'll hand over to the MC.
Picture, yes. Yes, so thank you very much. We have come to the end of this session. We'll have the lunch at the restaurants. Please go with your lunch tickets. After lunch, around 5:30 p.m., we will have a cocktail at the poolside. So we want everybody to be a part of that event so that you can network more and enjoy some cool breeze from the poolside. And that will be all till we meet again at 5:30. Thank you very much. Please celebrate yourselves as we close for the day.